So hello everyone. Now we are ready with our next question, that is majority element 2. Majority element also has a part 1 which is quite easier, and we can solve it in this similar way in which we will solve this. So what the question says is, given an integer array of size n, find the element that appear more than n by 3 times. Okay, so n is basically the size of the array. Here we are given the array as nums. So here, as you can see, nums is equal to 3 to 3. So n here is 3, and if we try to find out n by 3, we will get 1. So here we can see 3 appears more than once. 3 appear 2 times. So here the answer is 3. So we have to return all the element of an array which are greater than our n by 3, which occur more frequently, and the frequency of the digits must be greater than n by 3. So firstly, what we can think about the extreme brute force is, we will traverse each an element using different loops, two for loops, and then we will calculate how many times each element are existing. We will store their frequency, and then we will find out which are the majority element. So rather than doing this, that will be the most extreme brute force, and that will take big O of n square time complexity. So to optimize that, we need to write a code in big O of n complexity. So what are the observations that we can think about? So as the majority element is occurring more than n by 3 times, so there can be at max 2 majority elements. Okay, so if there are 2 majority elements, that means they are 2 by 3 parts of the total elements. So as there can be at most 2 majority element, we will choose 2 candidates. Candidate 1, we will initialize it with 0, and then candidate 2, and we also initialize it with another 0. Then we will have their count, how many times they are appearing. Count 1 to count how many times candidate 1 is appearing, and we also have count 2, that also initialize with 0, and count 2 will count how many times our candidate 2 is appearing. Now as we are are trying to solve a problem related to array, so we need its size. Nums.size will give us the size of the array. Now what we will do, we will start iterating over the array. So int I is equal to 0 and I less than n and I plus plus. So first what we will do, we have to check each and every number of nums is appearing how many times. So we will take int num of nums, because we don't need to we need to just compare how many times it's coming, we just need the count. That's why we will iterate over it, and then we will check. What we will check? If our num is equal to candidate 1, then we will keep a count. We will increase the counter part. Counter 1 will count how many times candidate 1 is coming. Else if what are the other conditions that can happen? Num can be equal to candidate 2, and if the number is candidate 2 equal to candidate 2, then our count 2 will activate and count 2 will increase. If not this, then what else can happen? If our count 1 is 0, means candidate 1 is not decided till now, then we will make candidate 1 as num, or what else can happen? If count 2 also can be 0, candidate 2 will be set to num if count 2 is 0, or else means our count 1 is not 0, count 2 is not 0, number is not equal to candidate 1, number is not equal to candidate 2, means it's another number which exists in the array, but that is not the majority element. That is neither candidate 1 neither candidate 2. In this case, what we will do? We will decrease the count 1 and we will also decrease the count 2. Okay. Now, as you can see, we from this we can know what is candidate 1 and what is candidate 2. After finding this, we will set the count 1 is equal to count 2 is equal to 0, just to verify, just to verify how many times it's coming is really greater than our n by 3 or not. Okay, so for int num in nums, we will check. So what we will check? We will check simply how many times candidate 1 is occurring in nums and how many times candidate 2 is occurring in nums. So in order to find out what is the number of times candidate 1 is occurring, will be if num is equal to candidate 1, then we will increase the count 1, or else if the num equal to candidate 2, then we will increase count 2. Okay, now our count 1 and count 2 both values are, we have both the values. So now if count 1 is greater than n by 3, then we have to return what is the return type here? The return type is a vector, so we have to return a vector. So we will first initialize a vector of that is type integer, because it will store the integer value, and name that answer. Name of the vector is answer. If our count 1 is greater than n by 3, then we will simply push back candidate 1, and if our count 2 is greater than n by 3, then we will push candidate 2. So we will push the candidate 2, and now we can return the answer. And I think we are done with it. Let's compile it. So if you will compile, Are you getting any error? Yeah, you are getting some error. Okay, so yeah, here is we left one thing. As our count is 0, so we are initializing, we are getting our candidate 1. So once we already get candidate 1 now, that's why our count 1 must be equal to 1, and our count 2 must be also equal to 1 similarly, because first time we meet our candidate 2 here. So I think now it will work perfectly. It should be. Yeah, our test case are passed, and let's submit it. I think we are done with it. Yeah, the our solution is accepted. And if we talk about the time complexity here, we can see here is one for loop iterating all over the entire array. So big O of n is there, and this also run n times. So n plus n. So n plus n, that is our time complexity is 2n, that is similar to big O of n. So, and we are I think we are using only one extra space, that is answer, but we are returning that only. So I think the space complexity will be big O of 1. So this is the most optimal approach that we can have for the question majority element 2. So keep practicing, and thank you.